guys, so we have finally gotten the sequel to a book by one of Alexandra's favorite authors.
I don't know why I'm waving. Hi.
It was really good. I really freaking enjoyed it.
So the book we're talking about is After the End of the World by Jonathan L. Howard. Before we talk about the book, can we just talk about how beautiful the cover is?
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It's really pretty.
This book is kind of like a Lovecraft horror novel thing.
With some like detective fiction. Well, the first one was detective fiction. This one is like B-movie
security guard fiction.
Basically, the summary of this book is Carter takes on a security job at a university, which leads to a lot of upward mobility.
And just general shit going down.
Emily Lovecraft manages to read the Necronomicon, not go insane, and somehow manage to turn herself into a witch. What? That is like the basic summary. It is so much more fun than that, though.
As you guys know from the last book, if you've read it, that things have gone to hell after the fold collapsed. The world is back to how it was when H.P. Lovecraft and his good old partner had changed it and like folded reality and made sure that like gods and creepy horror things couldn't change things. Now they're living in a world where the Nazis have like won World War I, II. I don't know why I said one. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
Because you just fixated on the word one.
Anyway.
The Nazis won World War II. Now, okay, so Nazis are a thing, and given the way the world is right now, this book was kind of fascinating to read.
JLH has fully admitted that he did not write this book with the intention of it being like relevant to the political climate, and yet
it's written in a time where it's like, okay, I need like, how do I make this world shocking? I know, like, Germany won World War II. Yeah, Nazis are a thing. Just at certain points you're reading it and you're just like, we live in a world where Nazis are a thing, and so that kind of, there's some interesting levels to that. Language, how he uses language, which words are bad versus
okay to say still.
And then, so the other thing is the Holocaust. It's kind of unclear if it would never happened or if it was just never discovered.
They said it was more like a Holocaust against the Russians.
Yeah.
That like nobody really talks about.
And so the big thing is the reason that the Nazis won World War II was they dropped the atomic bomb on
Russia
and Stalin and wiped out basically the entire like Russian power. And so that area is completely blocked off because radioactive.
And yeah, like Operation Barbossa went like completely different than it did in our world. We actually find out that like the atomic bomb is not an atomic bomb, but it's like something to do with eldritch horrors and stuff like that. And so, you know, there is no radiation in Russia, and you know, they didn't win the race or anything like that. But like it was just like a complete power move that's only capable on this side of the fold.
It was an interesting line that Jonathan L. Howard walked, because he definitely drew attention to how kind of screwed up and bad this world is, but there were little pockets of things, like Emily Lovecraft's like, man, we're gonna like fold the world again. Like, we're gonna do it. But like, do you think there's a way we can do it and keep Arkham? Because I really like Arkham. It's legit. I like this town. And
she's like, I have this cute little cottage. I kind of like that.
She's like, the way he describes downtown Arkham, it's just like the Main Street area. It's like the chains are almost like afraid to be there. Like there's this Starbucks that's kind of like tucked away, kind of hiding and trying not to be seen.
I like that.
So it's cool because like in the first book he made this, like he built this sandbox. And now he gets to play in it.
Carter gets contracted by his lawyer, yay.
The guy who I think is Icorst, by the way. Like in my head, he looks like
I get that.
Yeah.
I kind of do that too. Anyways, his lawyer is clearly not a human being. He's clearly something bigger. And the lawyer is like, hey, I have this job for you and I need you to take it. And Dan's like, it's actually impossible for me to do because it's illegal. And the lawyer's like, give me a minute. Oh look, the guy who had the post that you needed is dead. Here's a job for you.
And it was creepy how he died. Like the hungry stars. Like he saw the stars and they drove him crazy. And I'm like, yikes.
That's fucked up.
Thank you for that.
Dan ends up working at this university as a security guard, and at this university people frequently just like die.
This whole town, like the whole Arkham town, like stuff goes wrong and the police are just like, meh. And the university, like, yeah,
just
same.
like under the rug. Dan has to investigate for this one SS officer the fact that this device that the university is building with a German university is probably faking all its data. And so Dan goes around, like, investigating this machine, and then all of a sudden one of the employees kind of goes a little nuts and, like, starts shooting things up, and Dan ends up being the hero. He also kind of makes friends with this Nazi scientist woman who's also...
She's from a different organization.
I don't remember the word, and I'm never going to.
The thing is, this whole experiment, there are so many German plants in it that it's really suspicious. And so the more Dan finds out, like, wow, everyone's either like SS or other random organizations, and when people finally confront him, is like, you're no regular security guard. He's like, yes, I'm a member of the CIA. Have you heard of it? The CIA doesn't exist in this world. And so everyone's like, oh my god, is that like some really like secret branch of like, oh, you must be legit.
And he's like, yeah.
Emily Lovecraft, I love her more than anything. She just, like, she gives Dan shit this entire book. It's like,
She
hey,
really
Dan, guess what? You're working for a Nazi, you monster.
It's like, oh, you're taking their money now, huh?
And she gets a phone call from someone who we find out later is the lawyer, being like, I need this book. And she opens up the safe that is under, like, the desk, and she's like, wow, this is where I, like, kept rare books. And she goes in, and she's just like, oh, this is full of horrible things. I loved the little reference to Cabal. But there's a copy of the Necronomicon, and she's like, this is a mind killer. Like, this will, like, people who read this go crazy. And Carter's like, well, don't read it. She's like, but I want to read it. Like,
I need to read it.
I need to read it. And she dreams about it.
And she ends up reading it just because, like, she dreams about it and, like, opens the book. And she's like, well, fuck.
Well,
I guess if I'm here, I'm going all the way.
And she kind of falls off the earth for, like, 4 days. And Carter's just like, this is really unlike her. And he goes to her little house, and she's just like, Dan, you gotta see what I've done. And Dan's just like, oh no.
She's got like a string art representation of the fold.
She builds the fold, and he's just like, and she's just like,
I don't know how I did this, but fuck, look, there it is.
Paper wasn't good enough. It kind of made me think of Stranger Things when they drew like the map throughout the entire house. And so it's cut later on when she's confronted about it and how, like, things she learned. She's like, well, I read this one, like, chapter, and it said this, this, and this, and I figured it was talking about this. And the guy was just like, are you human? Because Dan did such a great job, he's being contracted by the university because all of their experiments went well, so they want to do it on a larger scale, but they don't have space, so they're going to this remote island. So, Dan, you're a hero. You're so good at being a security guard. You should come with us, but we also need someone to do kind of like your administrative work. Do you have anyone?
And he's like, I think I know someone scary enough for the job.
You pointed this out to me. I noticed it too. Just this book is obsessed with guns, and we don't know if it's like something like an interest of the author or if it's like trying to blend in with America, maybe a bit of both, but like a detailed description of guns and gun models.
And what people are using and who it's made by and just like on and on and on and on. It's like, whoa.
You feel like you learned something coming out of it, but you don't know if any of these brands exist. So they go off on this thing. Carter has this really strange experience with the like science Nazi lady, and I was like thinking like, oh my god, she's a Lovecraftian abomination, and she's gonna do. She was into him, and it didn't work out. I'm like, oh, okay.
That was really awkward.
It was like super awkward.
I don't know, like I didn't like not enjoy like it. I
wanted it to be something else so bad. I wanted it to be some crazy evil science thing, because that gets thrown in, kind of like jump over to Germany. Because Carter has a dream, because Carter is a dreamer, where he sees like this ritual, and man, does Jonathan L. Howard like hammer in the banality of evil.
Oh, yeah, right? Like they're like all bored, they're just like, oh,
gotta kill another person.
Oh, can we like, I've got a meeting, can we move this along, and they're like slitting people's throats and just like dumping them into a fire pit,
Yeah.
and it's like super freaking awkward and just like awful, and they're just like, oh god, not another one.
And like Carter wakes up, he's like, and they didn't even care, Emily. They didn't even care. And Emily's just like.
So anyways, he's on to the fact that there is some weird shit going on by some evil Nazi organization who clearly knows how to like use eldritch horror nonsense to their advantage.
And so they continue doing their experiments, and so Carter and Lovecraft are like, let's explore this island because there might be other stuff here. There are definitely a few things about this book that kind of stand out, probably were changed during like the copy editing. Little things like make Germany great again.
Yeah, that was definitely, like, put money on that, was changed during the copywriting editing. Be like, this is terrifying. Yep, goes right in there.
There was one more that I picked up. Emily calling Carter out on his white privilege. She's great.
Yeah. Like, just actually terrifying with her shotgun.
She's so sweary. I love her.
Yeah.
She takes the nonsense. And I love that Carter is like a little bit in love with her, but not to the point where it overtakes the plot. Like, there's no forced romance.
It's very much like, it could be bro-y, it could be kind of romantic, and it's like just somewhere in between all that. So they go into this island and, you know, things are great. Like, you have to go up this mountain to get to the place where the scientists are building their thing. Not a lot's happening, but they're like, something's definitely suspicious, we're gonna have to check it out. And so they go looking for stuff, and they end up finding British people!
Because, so Carter's up at the top of the mountain, and he starts describing, like, his vision starts going weird, and he's like, oh no, I'm seeing the fold. Like, it's like, no, I don't want to look, but I have to look. And he looks out, and he sees something kind of rise from the ocean, and he's like, it's not an elder god, it can't be. And then he sees some, like, thing, like, walk out of the water, and he's like, oh no, it's one of those, like, those creatures, man.
Yeah,
the Fomorians or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, no!
He's like, no, I don't want to deal. Alright, fine. Alright, we're gonna go check it out. So they go and they go for a drive, and they end up running into a platoon of British
intelligence agents.
Navy SEAL something nonsense.
They bond over Fleming. They bond over Fleming. Ian Fleming.
James Bond. So the British guys are like, yeah, something is definitely up over there.
The best part is like, oh yeah, we know those guys exist. We call them foamies. And Carter and Lovecraft are like, people who understand. We're not alone.
And then the British guys are like, okay, well, keep an eye on things. If you need any help, there's a sub like right over there.
Third act of the book really kicks off with Carter and Lovecraft kind of discussing like the Fomorians, and the German science lady overhears them, and so she's reporting to her agency, and that word, she asks, like, what does this word mean? That word spikes a thing on that end.
They panic. They're like, oh,
okay,
shit.
Go speak to this guy. We have to, like, do this now. And the only reason that Carter and Lovecraft find out is because Carter has bugged the computer.
And has been, like, following her communications. So, and of course, the Nazi lady is like, wait, what? I thought I was working for the whatever branch she's working for. And they're like, no, you haven't been working for them for a long time. You've been working for the elite magic branch. And she's like, what? Okay. I'm not sure I'm okay with this.
So what you find out is what they're doing on this island is they're not trying to create energy like a renewable energy source that they were speaking about. What they're actually doing is they're going to set a specific explosion similar to what happened in Russia on this specific point to hammer down reality. So reality will no longer be able to be folded again.
Which is like, shit, this cannot happen. It results in a long, like, drive up the mountain. They have to get a ski-doo together, and they drive up the mountain, and then the Fomorians are coming up behind the British people who they called in as backup, and Emily has to go down and, like,
save one guy.
Yeah. She's trying to save the full team, but they're all, like, basically dead by the time she gets there, so.
And it's another moment of, Emily, no! Emily, yes!
She's like, I got this! I can see the fabric of reality! And so she goes down, and she's got her weapon that the Fomorians are using, and it's like this electric whip thing that, like, explodes things into ash, and she's like, yeah, I got this. And she saves one British guy.
And so Carter's having a standoff with all the scientists. They're really clever with what they do. Like, they, like, flood they start gassing them with,
with carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide
to
get them to come out. And that's not working.
I see what you did there.
So what ends up happening is they decide, oh, we're just gonna like override the system, like with the little bomb that we had. He's talking to the German lady scientist is just like, this is bad, I don't want this, this isn't the mission, this is what we weren't supposed to be doing this. And so she's kind of working with Carter, and they set off the bomb to destroy all the equipment. But that bomb still sparks the meltdown explosion. And then Emily's just like, we can't do this! And she stops time.
At which point, like, the lawyer shows up and he's like, really? You stopped time.
How did you do this? Well, in the book, and it said this and this, and he's just like...
You understood it? Are you sure? And that was like I really liked that sequence, because he's like, they have like this like long explaining conversation where he's like, yeah, like I clearly put you on this path because I didn't want this to happen, and clearly I'm working for somebody else who, like, you know, has a stake in this, and you know, I'm not human.
And while I'm doing this, I'm currently discussing your, like...
discussing, have discussed, am discussing, will discuss, like...
And Emily's kind of like, I'm following this, and Carter's just like, I have no idea what's going on.
As I was reading that scene, I had, like, in my head, like, the, from the Last Jedi, like, you know, when Rey's in, like...
The thing?
Yeah, and you see all of her, and the... Yeah, that was what was in my head. But he's like, yeah, so basically everything has happened. We've been here for like millennia. We have been here for no time at all. Like, every moment in time is like present right here.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, no witnesses. But the British guy, we like the British guy. It's like, no witnesses. And Emily's like, but we keep the British guy. And he's like, fine, okay, he can come with me, blah, 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 blah. And he gets murdered.
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, I guess that was the only way to resolve that.
Yeah.
Sure, we won't kill him here.
Not in front of you.
Bye.
And so, like, the explosion is stopped. Everything is hunky-dory except for the British guy. They leave. They get interrogated a shit ton of times. And the German occult, like, group has to continue doing their stupid ritual because by hammering down the reality so the fold couldn't be made again, they wouldn't have to do the thing anymore, but because that didn't happen, they have to keep doing it until they can find another way to stop the world from being folded.
Clearly, they've got more shit to do.
Yeah, the book ends with the lawyer coming to Carter. It's like, hello, Mr. Carter, and Carter just being like, hi, Weston.
It's like, I have a job for you.
Of course you do.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the first one, but this one was, like, it was easier to read. Like, there was, like, more that really grabbed my attention. I felt like there was, like, less that needed to be explained.
It felt more like a narrative.
Yeah, it flowed better.
And, like, I kind of pictured this in black and white, or, like, really kind of grainy colors, and I was having so much fun.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
crazy scientist is my thing, so...
The one thing that, like, kind of, like, I thought was a little strange was, like, the Nazi scientist being, like, all of a sudden having, like, a change of heart and being like, yes, I've discriminated against people of color, but now in the face of this, I see the error of my ways. I'm like, that's a big leap.
Yeah. How I'm more close to these people than I am to, like, who you serve.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
really, in the heat of the moment, that's the conclusion you draw? Okay. Yeah.
It kind of works in the genre, but, like, reading it's kind of very, like, abrupt.
Yeah. It's fine. Like, she was obviously trying to make a point, so I'll let it stand.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for the next one whenever the next one comes out. Like, this is definitely a series I will continue.
Yeah. Like, I really appreciated the characters in this one. And it's just nice that, like, now everything's been set up and he can do what he wants, and it's a lot of fun. 100% would recommend this book. Enjoyed it, would read it again. So, let us know what you guys thought of this book, this series, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.